generally speaking, places with higher humidity are going to have it worse because you know how much worse heat feels when it's muggy outside, right? And if you're in a city, you also have these urban heat island effects. So basically the tarmac and the concrete absorbs all this heat, and they get warmer, and also these places don't cool down as much during the night. We're looking at heat waves becoming more and more frequent, more intense, happening over longer periods of time in the year. So summer is going to feel longer, and we're looking in some places at heat waves of 40, 45 degrees, almost 50 degrees temperature, probably more than that in the next 20 years. And we're looking at that being completely normal, by the end of the century if we don't act on climate change right now.
Heat is called the silent killer, and that is because of a couple of factors. One is the low awareness of the risks of high ambient temperature. The numbers of people who die needlessly in heat waves is quite high. In fact, almost all deaths in a heat wave are potentially preventable. So we don't need to die as humans from the heat, and yet thousands and thousands around the world are doing so. When we're exposed to high temperatures, our core body temperature can rise. It does take hours for that to happen. It's not an instantaneous response. And we have behavioral mechanisms and physiological mechanisms to keep our core body temperature within a pretty narrow range. The purpose of that range is to protect our cells and our organs. We know from multiple studies of what happens during heat waves that about half of the excess deaths during a heat wave are because of cardiovascular causes. This tells us that our heart is sensitive to being heated. There's a long list of groups that are particularly vulnerable to periods of high temperature. Older adults, young children, pregnant women, outdoor workers, people who are unhoused, people who have chronic diseases, people who take certain medications that reduce the ability of your body to sweat, and many others.